Now we will look at client totals and the service maintenance options. So right now, if we look at Chris Moore's record, we notice that her balance is negative in green, and that negative balance means that she has a credit with us. So we show this little credit of $288, so she must have purchased a package. And when we sell a package, the package costs $0, but we charge money for it. So we notice at the bottom here that she has a positive balance, and yet the other payors owe us $75. If we tap into all services, we'll see that Medicare is on one of the payers on a charge, Acme Insurance is on another charge. So both of them are totaling into the $75. If I want to see what each payer owes, I could tap on payer balances. And that shows me that we've charged her $526.80, but we've received from her $815, again, because she purchased that package. Meanwhile, we charged Acme Insurance and we have yet to get paid, and we charged Medicare and we have yet to get paid. And so that adds up to the $75 in the other payors owing us. So we can look at that by client, not just on the payers owing report that we'll look at when we're billing insurance, but we can also then see it by client. If I want to see all the details, I simply twirl down here and then I see all the adjustments. Now notice, for the package cost $0, but she paid us $200. So if we're giving a discounted package rate of $50 per an adjustment, well then clearly a package of 4 will cost $200. And so that's how packages are typically handled. If we scroll down to the bottom, then we'll see the Acme Insurance, and that adjustment charged $35, still owing, and the Medicare adjustment charged $40 and still owing. To get more details on a service, I could tap Service Maintenance. If we click on Service Maintenance, it will bring up the first service that we entered in the system for that particular client. So this one comes up as the one on July 9th. If, however, let's say I wanted to look at one in particular, I could just simply select this first one, and when I tap Service Maintenance, notice that that's the one that comes up on Halloween 2016, and there we have everything. Now you'll notice that there are some things that are similar to what we'd see on the notes summary. So for example, on the notes summary, we could still go back and enter in techniques and do that there. We could type directly into the notes field and notice that expands by default. I could also expand it a whole lot by bringing it open that big, update it there. I could type the diagnosis code in. I could take a picture or drag in a file right here. I can do all of that over here too. I could choose my techniques over here. When I was entering a client, I could enter my notes here. I could expand the field. All that's very similar. The things that I can't do over here are copy a diagnosis code. So let's say that we don't have a diagnosis code on this service here, the one that was on the 26th. So let's go there. On the 26th, I open Service Maintenance, and notice there's no diagnosis code. I can simply tap this button, same as last, and it will copy the last diagnosis code forward for that person. So I've got the copy diagnosis code, which I can't do over here. I could directly enter it. And I've got the billing codes, and then I've got all of the financial information as well. Now we can also show all client services by simply tapping on all client services. It sorts by the most recent first. So again, I could click through, and remember that Control up and down take you back and forward both on Mac and PC. You see this highlight, and that indicates that there's something on that second screen. So on that second screen, we have the bill to Medicare as well. When it's only one person being billed, like this next record, that's not highlighted, and again, we see that it was billed to self. So let's say that we've made a data entry error, and rather than receiving $50, we put down that we've received $50,000. Now we would notice that when we look down here, we'd see, wow, she's got a $50,000 credit. There's probably something wrong there. We might also notice that in a report. So we'll have a quick look at the business by period report, and we'll run that just for October. Now we'll cover this report in more detail and all the reports in more detail later. But notice we see here that we've received $50,000 for 5 adjustments with an average dollar per adjustment of $10,000. Wouldn't that be awesome? And so I can twirl down and say, hey, if I look at this, there's $50,000 here. That must be wrong. Right here, I tap on the wrench. That takes me to service maintenance. And then I can say, oh yes, clearly that's wrong. I meant that to be $50. Fix that record. And then I refresh over here and it goes back to her just having a credit for having paid ahead on the package. The service maintenance is really helpful if we need to update anything that happened financially, review something that happened financially, look at the insurance billing in detail. So most often the note summary will be enough to review what happened at a visit. And in fact, even if we want to go back and put x-rays back here, we can do that, or take pictures or put other files or documents within those wells. We can do that right here. And that's usually enough for the what happened at the service. To review somebody's financial history, usually this is enough. Just to sort of scroll down and say, okay, well, they have a credit, the other payers owe that much, and we can click into the payer balances. The service maintenance is really there if you want to change some financial information from a service. Again, you could, go back and enter notes here too. And just as you saw, I can drag documents into those wells here as well. So you have a lot of functionality both places, which is great. You can now find services for which there are no notes so that you can go back and enter notes. So notes means this field here. Techniques may still be selected, but it will find empty notes. So if we go to maintenance, there's find services without notes. Again, it defaults to the current day, assuming you're going to run this at the end of day, but you can change that to any date range you want. So maybe I'll put in the 5th through today. And then I've got this field over here that looks like all the other service windows. And it just says empty notes. And there's 10 records in this. So this is Chris Tynes' adjustment. There's nothing in the notes field. Nothing in the notes field. Now we notice after 3 of his, we're back to Chris Mass. He does have techniques, so we could enter notes here. Back to Chris Tyne. And these are all sorted by date. Back to Chris Mass, back to Christine. So you can find empty notes and then enter notes. Remember too, to be quick, if you want, you can tap the little pencil and that will bring in whatever your default format for notes is that you've defined. So that's the client totals and service maintenance.